Emma thought she had the life others only dream about. A devoted husband, Alex, who seemed to adore her, a home filled with warmth and laughter, and a future she believed was secure. Friends envied their relationship, often calling them the perfect couple. From the outside looking in, everything seemed flawless. But as they say, appearances can be deceiving. Beneath the surface, something was amiss, something Emma hadn't yet discovered. She had no reason to doubt him, or so she thought. Life has a way of offering subtle warnings, signs we sometimes ignore because the truth is too painful to face. But Emma was about to come face to face with a reality she could never have imagined. One ordinary evening, a single moment would change everything. An unlocked phone left casually on the kitchen counter would become the key to uncovering the betrayal that lay hidden in plain sight. But this isn't just a story of heartbreak. No, this is a story of resilience, strategy, and courage. When Emma discovered Alex's deception, she didn't break down and accept defeat. She refused to let herself be a victim. Instead, she devised a plan so brilliant, so meticulously thought out, that it would leave Alex questioning every decision he had ever made. So let me ask you this. What would you do if you found out the person you trusted most had been living a double life, entertaining multiple secret relationships behind your back? Would you confront them immediately, or would you bide your time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to show them the error of their ways? Emma chose the latter, and her journey is nothing short of extraordinary. Stay with me as I take you through her story, step by step, as we uncover the betrayal, the heartbreak, and most importantly, the revenge plan that would leave Alex, and everyone who knew him, speechless. Emma and Alex were the kind of couple everyone admired. Friends would comment on how lucky Emma was to have found someone like Alex. Handsome, charismatic, and successful. He had a magnetic charm, the type that could light up any room. Emma would often smile, basking in the compliments, believing her life was the perfect picture of love and stability. Their life together seemed flawless. They had a comfortable home in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place where neighbors exchanged friendly waves and kids played on the streets. Alex, ever the attentive husband, brought Emma flowers on special occasions and treated her to romantic dinners. To Emma, these gestures were proof that she had found her soulmate. She couldn't imagine her life being any other way. But as time passed, there were small moments that seemed odd. Alex would occasionally come home late, blaming work deadlines. "The clients are demanding," he'd say with a weary smile, planting a quick kiss on Emma's forehead before retreating to his office. There were also the unexplained text messages, ones he'd dismiss with a laugh, saying, "It's just the guys from work." Emma noticed these things but dismissed them as minor quirks of a busy life. Her trust in Alex was unwavering. After all, this was the man who promised to love her forever. And love wasn't about questioning every detail. It was about believing in each other, right? Emma told herself that she was lucky, that she had a husband who worked hard to provide for them. She reminded herself of how Alex had always been there for her, through good times and bad. But there were moments when doubt crept in. Emma would find herself lying awake at night, replaying certain conversations or recalling Alex's slightly evasive answers. Once, she had stumbled upon a credit card statement with purchases she didn't recognize. When she asked Alex about it, he laughed, brushing it off as a mistake. "I'll call the bank tomorrow," he had said, his tone so casual that Emma felt foolish for even questioning him. Still, those little moments began to add up, like the time Alex had missed her birthday dinner, claiming he was stuck in a meeting, or the way he always seemed to guard his phone, never leaving it unattended. Emma tried to shake off her unease, convincing herself that she was overthinking. She loved Alex, and love required trust. But the nagging feeling lingered, buried under layers of self-reassurance. It was an ordinary Tuesday evening when everything changed. Alex had left his phone on the kitchen counter, something he rarely did. He had stepped outside to take a call, and Emma's eyes fell on the unlocked screen. For a moment, she hesitated. Her heart pounded in her chest as a flood of questions filled her mind. Should she look? Was she being paranoid? But curiosity, mixed with the faintest trace of doubt, got the better of her. Her trembling hands reached for the phone, and that single moment would mark the end of the life Emma thought she knew. It was just an ordinary evening in their comfortable home. Emma was cleaning up after dinner while Alex had retreated to his study. But as she walked into the kitchen, her eyes fell on something unexpected. Alex's phone, sitting unlocked on the counter. At first, she didn't think much of it. They had always shared a sense of trust, or at least she thought they had. But a small, nagging thought crept into her mind. Why had Alex been so secretive lately? The late-night work meetings, the hushed phone calls, the sudden increase in business trips. It had all seemed unusual. Emma stood frozen for a moment, torn between respecting his privacy and confronting the unease that had been building in her heart. Her hand trembled as she picked up the phone. She told herself she wasn't looking for trouble, just clarity. The Messages app was open. She hesitated, hovering over the screen, and then she saw it. The name at the top of the message thread wasn't familiar. Emma's stomach tightened as she tapped on it. The words on the screen made her heart stop. Messages filled with affectionate nicknames, plans for romantic getaways, and even photos that left no room for doubt. Her breath hitched as she scrolled further. There wasn't just one woman, there were several. Each message thread told the same story. Alex wasn't just unfaithful, he was leading a life she couldn't have imagined in her worst nightmares. Emma sat down at the kitchen table, the phone still clutched in her hands. A storm of emotions rushed through her. The initial shock gave way to anger, followed by a wave of humiliation. She felt like the ground beneath her feet had disappeared. But Emma wasn't someone to wallow in despair for long. As tears streamed down her face, a new emotion began to emerge: determination. She wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. Alex had been playing a game, one where he thought he held all the cards. But Emma realized she had one advantage he didn't count on: his arrogance. She whispered to herself, if he thinks he's the only one who can play this game, he's wrong. He doesn't know who he's dealing with. Emma wasn't going to confront him yet. That would be too easy. Instead, she would turn the tables. She would take her time, ensuring that when she made her move, it would leave a lasting impact, not just on Alex, but on everyone who thought they could deceive her. Emma placed the phone back exactly where she found it, as if nothing had happened. She composed herself, forcing a smile when Alex casually walked into the kitchen, oblivious to the storm brewing right under his nose. As she lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, her mind raced. She didn't just want to confront Alex. She wanted to outsmart him. But how? What would she do to ensure that Alex felt the full weight of his betrayal? Emma's plan was forming, and it would soon take a life of its own. Emma wasn't going to act immediately, the narrator concludes. She needed to plan, but what she did next would leave Alex and everyone else speechless. Emma woke up the next morning with a renewed sense of purpose. The pain of betrayal was still fresh, but now it fueled her determination. She wasn't just going to confront Alex, she was going to expose him in a way he would never forget. Her first step was to gather evidence. Every night while Alex slept, Emma retrieved his phone, taking screenshots of incriminating texts and photos and forwarding them to a secure folder on her laptop. She noted dates, times, and even saved photos of the women Alex had been seeing. She became meticulous, documenting everything with precision. But Emma realized she couldn't do this alone. She needed more information, pieces of the puzzle she couldn't gather herself. That's when it struck her: the other women. She hesitated before reaching out. Would they believe her? Would they care? Taking a deep breath, she sent messages to the women whose numbers she had saved. The tone was calm and direct. She wasn't looking to cause chaos. She simply wanted to share the truth. To her surprise, the responses came quickly. The women were stunned. None of them knew Alex was married, and worse, none of them knew about each other. They too felt deceived and hurt. Emma found herself in a series of conversations with these women, who ranged from college students to professionals. Each of them had been lured in by Alex's charm and promises. Slowly but surely, Emma began to unite them. At first, there was hesitation. Some of the women were unsure about how to proceed. But Emma's calm leadership and clear purpose brought them together. She wasn't angry with them. She knew they were just as much victims of Alex's deceit as she was. "We can't change what he's done," Emma told them. "But we can make sure he never does this to anyone else. Together, we can hold him accountable." The group quickly formed a bond. They shared their experiences, compared messages, and laughed at Alex's recycled lines and half-hearted excuses. For the first time since her discovery, Emma felt a strange sense of solidarity. They started crafting a plan, not just to confront Alex, but to reveal his double life in a way that no one could ignore. Emma guided the effort, ensuring every detail was perfect. She wasn't just orchestrating revenge, she was creating a moment that Alex would never forget. But as the women's alliance grew stronger, so did Emma's vision. A private confrontation wasn't enough. She wanted the truth to be undeniable, visible to everyone who knew Alex. She began devising a larger scheme, one that would showcase Alex's deception in front of his closest friends, colleagues, and anyone else who believed in the image he had so carefully crafted. Emma's plan was bold, and it was risky, but if it worked, it would leave Alex standing in the ruins of his own lies. What she had in mind wasn't just justice. It was a revelation that no one would see coming. Alex loved grand gestures, especially when they came with an audience. So when he announced he'd be hosting a lavish charity gala at one of the city's most prestigious venues, Emma knew this would be the perfect stage. The event was set to be an extravagant display of Alex's wealth, influence, and charm. Everything he prided himself on. For weeks, Alex busied himself with preparations, carefully curating every detail to ensure it reflected his perfect image. He sent out invitations to prominent business leaders, friends, and even local celebrities. Emma played her part, acting as the supportive wife, smiling at his excitement, and helping him fine-tune the guest list. Behind her composed exterior, Emma was meticulously preparing for her moment. The evidence she had gathered was organized, printed, and saved in multiple formats. She coordinated with Alex's former girlfriends, who were all on board for the plan. Each of them would attend the gala, strategically positioned around the room to witness the spectacle unfold. As the evening arrived, the venue was dazzling. Guests mingled, sipping champagne and exchanging pleasantries. Alex moved through the crowd effortlessly, shaking hands and basking in compliments. He was in his element, exuding confidence and charm, completely oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. Emma waited for the perfect moment. As the night reached its peak, Alex took the stage to deliver his speech, a polished, self-congratulatory monologue about his success, generosity, and dedication to his family. The crowd applauded, hanging on his every word. When Alex finished and was about to step down, Emma gracefully approached the microphone. The room fell silent as she smiled and thanked everyone for coming. "I want to take a moment to acknowledge my husband," she began, her voice steady. "Alex has worked so hard to make tonight a success, but there's something even more important I need to share with all of you." Emma pulled out her prepared materials, her confidence unwavering. "You see, Alex isn't just a dedicated businessman or a loving husband. He's also a man of many relationships." Gasps rippled through the crowd as Emma displayed the evidence on a large screen behind her. Text messages, photos, and conversations flashed before everyone's eyes, each one more damning than the last. The women Alex had deceived stood scattered throughout the room, their faces a mixture of anger and satisfaction. Guests exchanged shocked glances, murmurs growing louder with every revelation. Some looked at Alex with disgust, others with pity. Alex himself stood frozen, his confident demeanor replaced with a look of disbelief and panic. Emma continued, her voice calm but firm. "For years I trusted this man. I believed in him, supported him, and built a life with him, and this is how he repaid me." She turned to Alex, meeting his eyes. "I thought you should know, Alex, that your lies have consequences." The room erupted. Guests whispered and pointed, their admiration for Alex replaced with judgment and disdain. Alex's carefully crafted image unraveled in real time, leaving him exposed and vulnerable. But Emma wasn't finished. She stepped away from the microphone, allowing the weight of her revelations to sink in. As Alex attempted to save face, stammering excuses and reaching out to guests, Emma addressed the room one final time. "This isn't just about me, it's about all of us who've been lied to, manipulated, and made to feel less than we are. Tonight isn't just the end of Alex's deception, it's the beginning of something new." Emma's voice dropped slightly, carrying a tone of quiet determination. "But this is only the first step. What happens next will ensure Alex faces consequences far beyond this room. Stay tuned. The crowd buzzed with speculation and anticipation as Emma's parting words hung in the air like a challenge. The morning after the gala, Emma woke with a renewed sense of purpose. The hardest part was behind her, but there was still more to be done. Without hesitation, she contacted her lawyer, initiating the process of filing for divorce. She made it clear that she wasn't interested in compromise. Alex's betrayal had voided any claim he had to the life they built together. The evidence she had gathered not only exposed Alex socially, but gave her a significant advantage legally. With meticulous documentation of his infidelity and deceit, the divorce proceedings moved swiftly. Emma watched as Alex's once pristine reputation crumbled. His business partners distanced themselves, his social circle grew colder, and even those who once idolized him began to see him for who he truly was. Alex's financial empire, once seemingly unshakable, started to collapse. Clients pulled out of deals, citing concerns about his character and trustworthiness. Emma ensured that the settlement left Alex with little more than the consequences of his actions. The life he had carefully curated was dismantled piece by piece, leaving him to face the fallout on his own. But Emma's story didn't end with dismantling Alex's world. It was about rebuilding her own. Free from the weight of betrayal, she began to focus on herself in ways she hadn't in years. She channeled her pain and strength into something constructive, creating a blog where she shared her story. Through her writing, Emma connected with others who had faced similar betrayals. Her honesty, vulnerability, and resilience resonated with readers, and what started as a small project quickly grew into a thriving community. She offered guidance, encouragement, and practical advice to help others navigate the difficult path of recovery. Emma's journey wasn't just about surviving, it was about thriving. She rediscovered parts of herself that had been buried beneath years of complacency and trust in someone who didn't deserve it. She pursued passions she had set aside, surrounded herself with supportive friends, and embraced a newfound confidence that radiated in every aspect of her life. And what about Alex? While Emma flourished, his life took a very different trajectory. His attempts to rebuild his reputation were met with resistance, as people refused to forget the man he had been exposed as. Business opportunities dried up, and relationships he had relied on disappeared. Emma, however, rarely thought about him. Her focus was on her future, not the wreckage of her past. But every now and then, she'd receive an update, a passing comment from a mutual acquaintance, or an article about Alex's continued struggles. And as for Alex, let's just say life was never the same again. Sometimes the best revenge is simply moving forward and letting those who wronged you face the consequences of their own choices. Emma's story is not just about uncovering betrayal, it's about rediscovering strength. Her journey reminds us that even in the face of heartbreak, there is an opportunity to reclaim our power and rebuild our lives. Emma's experience speaks to anyone who has ever felt broken by someone they trusted. She showed that pain doesn't have to define us. How we respond to it does. This is a tale of resilience, of finding clarity in the chaos, and of turning a devastating situation into a platform for growth. Emma's actions were not born out of vengeance, but from a desire to take control of her own narrative. She didn't let betrayal make her a victim. Instead, she used it as a catalyst to transform her life and inspire others. It's a story of empowerment, not just for Emma, but for the women she united along the way. Together, they turned a situation designed to demean them into one that brought them strength. It's a reminder that even in our lowest moments, solidarity and determination can help us rise above. Now think about your own life. Are there relationships or situations where you felt powerless? Emma's journey is a powerful reminder that we have the strength within us to confront the truth, no matter how painful, and make choices that serve our well-being. Let Emma's story inspire you to stand up for yourself, to demand honesty, and to never settle for less than you deserve. What would you do if faced with betrayal? Would you crumble or would you rise? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else going through a similar challenge. And if you found this story engaging, let us know by liking this video. Subscribe to our channel to hear more stories like Emma's, stories of triumph, resilience, and personal growth that leave a lasting impact. Remember, life's toughest moments are often the ones that shape us the most. Stay strong, stay inspired, and stay tuned for more stories of overcoming adversity and finding strength when it's needed most. Emma's journey was one of betrayal, heartbreak, and ultimately, redemption. What began as a seemingly perfect marriage unraveled into a web of deceit, but Emma didn't let it define her. She faced the unimaginable truth, gathered her strength, and turned her pain into a plan that would leave an unforgettable mark. Not just on Alex, but on everyone who witnessed her actions. Her story reminds us that betrayal doesn't mean the end. Instead, it can be the beginning of a new chapter, one where we reclaim control and set our own terms. Emma's decision to take action, to expose the lies and reclaim her narrative, was a powerful declaration that no one has the right to undermine her dignity. She walked away from her marriage, not as a victim, but as a person who had faced her reality head-on and emerged stronger for it. Through her blog, she not only shared her journey, but became a source of inspiration for countless others who needed to hear that it's possible to rebuild, to find hope, and to thrive after betrayal. As we close this chapter, ask yourself, what would you do in Emma's shoes? How far would you go to expose the truth and reclaim your life? These questions linger, just as Emma's story does, urging us to reflect on our own resilience and the power we hold to reshape our futures. And remember, the truth always comes out, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. When it does, it's not about the revelation itself, but about how we choose to respond. Will you let it defeat you, or will you let it define your strength?